Welcome back to Dreams of Music and Makeup, or welcome here if you've never been here before. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad to have you here today. I thought it was time, after almost 6 months on YouTube, to come out with a favorites video. And just to clarify, this is not something that I'm going to be refilming very often, because I think that once products are favorites, they can't be unseated that easily. My favorites are usually favorites for months, if not years. So, with that being said, I'm going to tell you about all the things that I can't stop reaching for. A lot of them are old products, some of them are new, but most of them have been around for a long time for me, or are repurchases of a product that I've had around for a long time. If this inspires you to look further, if there's something in your routine that's just not doing it for you, and this inspires you to go out and try something new, I would love to hear how that works out for you. Please let me know. I don't often get feedback as far as what this results in your life, and I would love to know. I'm someone who has primarily been focusing on investing in the ingredients in my skincare lately, as opposed to really nitpicking my makeup. I kind of play it wild and free with makeup because I try to take really good care of my skin and what's underneath it. For me, it feels really nice to spend less money on my makeup by finding drugstore gold, just using a couple of key, more expensive items that I can't really replace or I can't find dupes for at the drugstore. So there's definitely some of those mixed in here too. Just because I have a high-end item in here does not mean you have to. It doesn't mean that you need this high-end item. If I did more digging, I'm sure there are dupes for everything, because that's just how the makeup world works. There are only so many factories and labs and warehouses and all that stuff. Eventually you find the same products. I'm going to do it in random order because I just have it all sitting in a basket next to me, so it's already in random order. For setting powders, you guys have heard this a few times by now, but the e.l.f. HD Under Eye Setting Powder is a repurchase item for me once or twice a year. I love this stuff. I've gone through several of these little containers. It's very small. You get your powder in there. It has a little sifter, so you get a little at a time. I just dip in there and set my under eye. I actually will keep layering this powder until it's like a powdery finish under my eyes, because this diffuses all the little lines and texture and anything else you might have going on under there. It's a really beautiful powder. I don't like under eye setting powders in general, or powders to set my under eye, because it emphasizes a lot of texture that I have from some stupid mistakes I made as a teenager with my skincare routine. This is the only setting powder I've found that sets everything beautifully, blurs everything. Oh, it's flawless. If you haven't spent the $3 to go and try this, you need to. Throw away the brush because it's not going to do anything for you, but you can grab a tapered brush like this. I know e.l.f. has one. Mine is dirty right now, but it's just this small taper brush that's exactly the same as that Sephora one that's like 30 or 40 bucks. The e.l.f. one probably isn't handmade and the Sephora one is, but still. For an all over face setting powder, my favorite is currently the RCMA No Color powder. Though for this, before YouTube made me buy this, because everyone was just talking about how wonderful it is, oily, dry, everybody in between was loving it, so that definitely sold me on this. I've had this for a year, I want to say, and that's how much I've gone through. This is 3 ounces of product in a salt shaker, so the packaging definitely leaves something to be desired. It hasn't been motivating enough for me to change what it's in, but if I do finish another loose powder that I have, I'll likely pour some of this into that container, because it'll be a little easier to work with than this, which is literally a glorified spice container. Makes it really messy for trying to set your face. I think this powder is beautiful. It's about $12, I think. You can find it on Beautylish or Friends Beauty or a bunch of other giant warehouse style beauty stores that carry a bunch of different brands. Got mine from Friends Beauty. The only place I don't like using it is under my eyes, because I like the e.l.f. powder better. This for me doesn't work as an under eye setting powder. It just doesn't do what I want it to. This cannot be beat. Just can't. And this RCMA No Color powder doesn't mattify, it doesn't claim to do anything, it doesn't alter the finish of your foundation, it merely sets the liquids on your face. If you're not familiar with what RCMA stands for, it's the Research Council of Makeup Artists. This is a pro product, that's why it comes in this weird packaging. This is used by a lot of different makeup artists in a lot of different industries, including special effects and all that kind of thing. So that's who this is marketed towards. It's not marketed towards a regular consumer for makeup, so that's why it's in this weird packaging. That's also what keeps the price so low. One of my favorite blushes, the one that I constantly reach for if I'm not thinking about it, is a kind of nude blush that goes with everything. And that is Too Faced Love Flush Blush in the shade Baby Love. I just love this shade. It's slightly shimmery, but it's just a nudie color. See those ones that swatch and look like nothing? Those are my favorites, see? I love this blush. It's beautiful. It can be hard to open if you have lotion on your hands because it's a magnet and there's nowhere to grip, but really cute packaging. Makes it easy to find in my collection, and it's just a good color. It goes with everything because it's very neutral and just kind of a hint of color. If I don't know what to wear, I just reach for that. If I want something with a little bit more color, the one that I always reach for is MAC Melba, which is deep potted and unexciting to look at. Ooh, let's do lip products real quick. If I'm going outside and I'm going to be very low maintenance and I just need sun protection, I really like these Revlon Kiss balms. I've gone through a couple of them because, you know, one gets lost at the lake, one goes through the wash, you know, it just happens. It's summer. I'm human. But the one I currently have is in the scent Crisp Apple. And I like this one because they're just kind of tinted. And they're SPF 20, which keeps my lips nice and happy when I'm out in the sun. I'll just kind of keep this in my pocket or, you know, down in our cooler or something and keep reapplying this. I really like it. I think it's like $5.50 or something, regular price at the drugstore. As far as glosses that I love, I tend to like the nicer glosses. You guys already know I like the Buxom lip gloss. This is the shade White Russian. I was going to show you Dolly, but it's in my purse, so lazy me, I'm showing you my other shade. But Dolly is a mauve shade, so it's kind of like a purpley, shimmery light shade. It basically looks like nothing on my lips, is why it's in my purse. I really enjoy the Buxom glosses. They are plumping glosses, but they're different because they're actually cooling rather than more of like a heat or stinging sensation. I can't really tolerate that on my lips. It's just sensory overload for me and it's distracting. I can't really wear plumping lip products, but these are really, really nice because it's cooling. It literally feels like if you're just holding an ice cube on your lips. It just feels so good, especially in the summer. I find it really, really refreshing. Now in the winter, obviously, it can be a little miserable if you're outside for the same reason, so just keep that in mind, okay? If I don't want a plumping gloss, but I just want something that's really pigmented and pretty and shiny that's gonna last a while, I reach for my Anastasia Beverly Hills gloss. This is the shade Vintage. I love this shade. My number one favorite though is Kristen, which is also in my purse. Kristen is described as a cool sand color. It's like the most beautiful tan lip gloss you've ever seen. It's kind of like this, slightly less pink and no shimmer in it. But they're very, very similar. Let me swatch this shade for you. It's Vintage, which I just love. I purchased this after falling in love with Kristen. And these are they're fully opaque and beautiful. I love these glosses. They smell just lightly sweet, but they just smell like lip gloss. And I just think they're beautiful. I really enjoy these glosses. They're very, very pigmented. They last a long time. Where are my wipes? One of my other favorites is this MAC Cream Sheen lipstick in Nippon. And the cream sheens are a very creamy formula, so they stay a little more glossy. That's the only formula by MAC that I can wear because it doesn't contain castor oil. And I just love this shade. It's a beautiful summer one. I like it in the spring too. It's just a beautiful little bit of color, nothing too loud, nothing too obnoxious, but perfect for summer. The lipstick that is generally in my handbag without fail is Milani Matte Naked. This is just a gorgeous, my lips but better shade. I'm terrible at swatching today. That's it right there. It's kind of a muted mauve-y brown. There have been a couple of videos where I'm like, did I not put a lip color on? I have this on. And it's just that hard to tell. If you enjoy a lip color like that, definitely pick up Milani Matte Naked. For mascara, I have a couple of kind of new favorites. I mean, not kind of new. This one is new. This is the new L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara. I'm testing out a lash primer on one side. See if you can tell me which one. But this is on both eyes. I love this mascara. The one tip I will give you is do not let it dry between coats because it gets chunky city nasty and then it crumbles and it's not fun. When you're layering this mascara, make sure you do it while it's still wet, and then when you're done, you're done. My other favorite mascara right now is the CoverGirl Supersizer. Not to be confused with the Supersizer with the fibers in it, which I did not care for, but this mascara formula is beautiful. I'm not typically a CoverGirl mascara fan, but this one is nice. I really like it. I even like these two layered together. I did that the other day and it was gorgeous. The Lash Paradise is pretty good at holding a curl, and so is this one. So even though they volumize, I don't feel like they weigh my lashes down too terribly much. So if you have fine lashes like me, they might be worth looking into. To curl my lashes, in case you are unfamiliar, my favorite lash curler is this Shuamura S Curler. And this is tiny and looks weird because it doesn't have a cage on either side. It doesn't have the bars to kind of guide you. And you actually use this a few times across your lash line to curl all of them. This did take me a little while to get used to, but I'm so glad that I purchased this because it has made a huge difference in my lash game. And as someone who has pretty fanned out lashes, my lashes go all the way around to like laying flat on the side of my face. So when I go to curl these outer lashes, look, they're even getting tangled over here. This happens all the time. My lower ones are long too. When I go to curl those outer lashes with a traditional curler, it will curl them down, it will curl them all crinkly, it will curl them in every direction but up. And then I'm causing damage and breakage and all this stuff, and it doesn't fit all my lashes. So my lashes are like this, and the curler's coming in like and screwing up the outer ones with the cage. I did a lot of research on curlers like this that you use a couple of times across the lash line, and this was the only one that didn't have absolutely gutter reviews. That being said, it still only had like 2.5, 3 stars out of 5, just because people don't like the learning curve. People don't like the non-traditional method of curling their lashes. But I think for people like me, or for people with difficult eye shapes or maybe deep set eyes, I think it's a really good option to try and test out. I would get it from Shuamura's site. That's where I purchased mine. If you go to their site and sign up for emails, they will send you I think it's a 10 or a 20% off coupon. I actually waited for a coupon and free shipping to get mine, so it can be done. This is around a $20 or $25 tool. For bronzer, my favorite, this is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Bronzer. There is also a light bronzer shade, which I think is a little more yellow based, a little bit more orangey. This is more neutral in tone. I really enjoy this, whether I am fair or a little bit self-tanned. It's beautiful. It does kind of have that coconutty, pina colada type scent, so if you are sensitive to that, I would maybe avoid this one and go for the Bronze Booster by Physicians Formula. That's a really good formula as well. I kind of flirt back and forth between the two of them. I really enjoy both. It performs like a high-end bronzer. It's kind of a satin finish, so it's that beautiful little bit of luminosity to make it look like skin. It's gorgeous. This powder, I believe, is $15 if you don't get it on sale. For eyeshadows, my favorite formulation by far is the Makeup Geek Single Shadows. I have a bunch of them here. A couple of these are not Makeup Geek, but this is not. These are Anastasia, these 3 here. And this is MAC. Everything else is Makeup Geek. In with my bronzer in here, the shimmery shade in the middle of those 3 is a MAC shadow, but the others are Makeup Geek. The blush is also by Makeup Geek. Adore Makeup Geek Single Shadows. They're beautiful. I bought all of mine myself, slowly, a couple at a time, and I started with the mattes and then worked my way through kind of the colors and that sort of thing. The mattes are the formula that really always pull me back in. I don't really have a desire for other eyeshadows. I just don't, because they're not going to perform the same way I expect them to. Let me just swatch a couple for you so that you can see. So we have Mocha, and then Desert Sands, then Dirty Martini, and this is Wisteria, which is this crazy, crazy vibrant purple. I haven't been disappointed by any one of them. The one that is the least touched is definitely Corrupt, because that is the most pigmented black shadow I've ever come across. They leave nothing to be desired for me. This is the formula I want to work with forever. I adore it. It's very, very pigmented, so if you are new to makeup, this is not going to be beginner friendly. It is not going to be forgiving. If you are new to this whole makeup thing, I would wait on those for a little bit. Spend some money on some drugstore shadows to get a little more comfortable first. Once you have an idea of what shades you use a lot and what shades are really flattering to you, then go buy some in a nicer formula so that you can have those all the time. I'm going to show you kind of my favorite go-to Makeup Geek shadows, along with one MAC one, just so that you get an idea of what I generally fall back to as far as favorites. In here I have Peach Smoothie is this lightest one. It's a nice warm transition shade. It literally just looks like a hint of peach. Then I have Creme Brulee right here, which is just a nice blending color, another crease color. I have Latte is this one here. It's just a beautiful mid-tone brown. It's very neutral. It goes with everything. This is a MAC shadow called Woodwinked, which I will also always own. It's one of my favorite shadows ever. If you would like a tutorial featuring this, I will leave that for you linked down below. It's a bronze smoky eye. And then this is Americano, which I also adore. This is just the perfect outer corner color for deepening up any sort of look. It's beautiful, has a little bit of a purpley undertone, if anything, to this brown, so it's very, very flattering. It's kind of a nice mixture of warm and cool. That is my little kind of go-to cluster of shadows. As far as shadows that are not Makeup Geek that I can't live without my little Wet n Wild Creme Brulee single shadow. This is the perfect all-over setting color for setting down eye primer or concealer, whatever I use to prime my eyes. This is just great. If I ever take up a color too high to my brow bone and I need to blend it back down and look like skin, again, I reach for this shade. I'm gonna hit pan on it soon. I have a backup of this in my storage so that I never run out. I just can't afford to be without this shadow. It's amazing, and it's like a 99-cent shadow at the drugstore if you get it full priced. Definite win at the drugstore. You go Wet n Wild. My favorite liner is a drugstore liner. This is the Physicians Formula Eye Booster 2-in-1 Lash Boosting Eyeliner Plus Serum. This one is in the shade Deep Brown. That's what I'm currently using. I tried to pick up the brown shade to see if it's as good as the black, and I do believe that it is. I always have a black one. Actually, I have 2 or 3 on hand as backups because I always repurchase this. It's about a $10 eyeliner if you don't get it on sale at the drugstore, but I think it's comparable to the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper if you get the ultra black shade of this. The only thing I will say is that though this claims to be waterproof, I respectfully disagree. I would say that it's more water resistant, at least on my skin chemistry, but it is not waterproof in the least. The Kat Von D one, however, at twice the price, at $20, is waterproof. The only downside to that liner that I will say is that if you make a mistake, you need an oil or a makeup remover to go in and correct that line, whereas you don't need that with this. So it's a little more forgiving. They are both brush tip liners, so they are not felt tips. They're not the kind that once they gunk up with powder, you can't get any product flowing through them again. They actually have bristles. So if this cakes up with shimmer or something like that, I can wipe it off on a sturdy paper towel and then product starts flowing again. You don't have that benefit with a felt tip liner, so I think brush liners are superior. Again, that is my opinion. You're welcome to disagree. For my brows, if I'm feeling lazy, the product I always reach for is the Essence Make Me Brow. This is a straight up dupe for the Benefit Gimme Brow. It's actually in the old packaging that Benefit used to use. I love this. I used to use the shade 01. I now use the shade 03. The only difference is this is a little more brown and the other one was a little bit more gray. So it's very friendly for blonde types, but it almost looked like highlights in my brows because my brows are a little bit darker. So this one matches my brows perfectly. I really enjoy this. It helps to give the illusion of fullness without having to sit there and put on a powder or a pencil in my brows. I really enjoy this for just quick makeup days. It's a good product. At $3, it's hard to argue with. I would much rather spend $3 than like $30 on this same product because it's tiny. Now, if I'm not using that, the brow gel that I'm using always is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. I have this on today. Oh, the hiccup's so bad right now. A lot of times, if I don't even have any makeup on whatsoever, I still have this on my brows just to kind of keep them in place. My brows tend to move a lot and my expressiveness definitely doesn't help. So this really locks them in place all day long. It's super glue for the face. It's way better than hairspray. If you're still over there spraying hairspray on a spoolie or a toothbrush and combing through your brows, go for this. I think you'll be impressed. A new favorite that I've been loving for my brows, regardless of what other product I use to fill them. I've been kind of going through a phase where I don't really want to reach for a pencil. It just seems too tedious for me. I've been using powders in my brows, but that doesn't quite give enough definition or precision for the edges of my brows for me to be happy. So a product that has recently become a wonderful new favorite that I've been missing in my lineup is this Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pen in the shade Universal Light. I adore this. I'm wearing it right now in the fronts of my brows. I mean, I'm wearing it all over the place, but the most obvious place is in the front of my brows to kind of mimic little brow hairs, particularly on this side. My brow grows in closer to my nose on this side than it ever will on this side, so I need something to kind of mimic that look without looking too fake, and I feel like this is the first and only product I've found that works for that. This was a really good find for me. I've been using this no matter what I use, whether I use pencil, powder, whatever to kind of fill, I'll always go in and do a little detail work around the edge with this, and it's been changing the game for me. It does also come in a darker color. If you need something deeper, it does come in a universal deep shade as well that's like a dark neutral brown. If I'm not using a setting powder, the powder I will be using, for the most part, is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural. What I use this for is generally my T-zone, for touching up, for all that kind of thing. If I'm applying a foundation and then I set it down and I lose some coverage somewhere, this is what I reach for. I'm currently using the shade medium. I also have the shade light. I would probably benefit from having light plus instead of medium, but it is what it is, whatever. This really helps because for me particularly, my trouble area with foundation is my nose. My nose does not like to hold on to the foundation. It sheds coverage. It just, I don't know, sometimes it just plain disappears. So I'll go in with a little brush and some of this powder and go over some areas that I've got some Rudolph nose coming through, and this really helps me out. Gives a little bit of color, a little bit of coverage while still looking really natural. It blends well with makeup that's already on your face. Oldie but a goodie. For primer, I've got a favorite. It's awesome. If you struggle with shine and you struggle with pores, I think this is going to help you a lot. This is the Soap & Glory One Heck of a Blot Primer. I love this. I'm wearing it today. I have this in my T-zone and where I wear highlighter so it doesn't settle into any texture or anything like that. I don't want it emphasized when I put that highlighter on. I just love this. It helps keep my oil at bay. It helps me stay matte for longer, and it really, I think, blurs the look of my pores. So this is a definite win for me. I believe this is a $15 or $16 primer, so it is kind of up there. Soap & Glory you can find at Walgreens, and they're also at Ulta now. You need very, very little, so I've had this for quite a while, and I'm gonna have to throw it out before I finish it because it'll just expire, but it's a great product. I think I will repurchase it. The reason why I like this as far as a skin smoothing primer as well is because a lot of times I find that those pore filling primers actually cause me to produce more oil because it's kind of blocking my pores off from the air and filling them with silicone. This doesn't do that because it's also a mattifying, it's a blotting primer as well. It doesn't feel like I'm suffocating my pores and they're just dying to get out of there, so they're just putting out oil. That's what happens to me with a lot of pore filling primers. Not this guy. This is not going to be a surprise to anyone if you've been on this channel before, but my favorite concealer at the moment is the Tarte Shape Tape. I'm currently in the shade Light Neutral. I just think this formula is lovely. I will say that nobody needs to apply this the way that typical beauty gurus do. It looks like crap, even when you blend it out, so please do not put that much concealer on your face. Just use a little bit of this. You can add more, you can layer it up, but don't put so much on because you can't get it back off. This is a full coverage concealer, and on those of you who it works, you don't have to necessarily set this with a powder. I always crease, so I have to set it with a powder. I think it's good for spot concealing as well. It's just not as thick and creamy as I prefer a spot concealing concealer to be. I believe the Tarte Shape Tape is $25 and it is available on Tarte's website or at Ulta. Last couple of things, I promise. For foundation, my favorite is the No. 7 Stay Perfect. This has unseated my Revlon Color Stay foundation, which was previously my favorite. This looks like skin. It looks fantastic. You can blot it down to look like you just applied it at the end of the day. It truly is a Stay Perfect foundation. I love it. It's transfer resistant, and that's really what sold me. When it looks this good, it performs this well, it's just flawless, and it doesn't come off on my phone. It doesn't transfer. It doesn't just disappear. It's a winner. This is a $16 foundation. You can find this at Ulta, Walgreens, Target. For highlighters, you know I couldn't pick one because I'm a highlight junkie. For summer, the one that I always get excited to reach for because I'm too fair for it in the winter is Becca Opal, which is essentially metallic beige. But let me just swatch it for you. So that's Opal. That's it right there. It's so gorgeous. I love this. This is the perfect highlighter for tanned, bronzed summer skin. I just love it. It's very pricey and it is not travel friendly. Do not bring this with you. It will break. Do not do your makeup in the bathroom on a tile floor. If you drop it, it's toast. It's not a firm powder, so just be aware of that. Another high-end one that I absolutely adore that I just can't get enough of, and this is on my face right now, is the Laura Geller Gelato Swirl Illuminator in the shade Peach Glow. I love this shade. But let me swatch this for you next to the other one. There's Opal, and here's Peach Glow. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's got a little bit of pink, a little bit of gold. It's that perfect peachy shade. It's very neutral. It just gives this effortless glow. I feel like there's almost no pigment to it. There's no stripe when you turn your head. It's just impeccable. This is a stiffer formula, so if you're someone who likes to use like a fan brush or something for this, you're not going to like this product. You need something stiffer. I actually have been using it with a kind of stiff crease brush that I don't like using for my eyes because it really gets in there and gets product up really easily without destroying the product. Maybe try that method for your more stiffer formulas of highlights and see how you do. I just barely touch it to my skin and kind of swirl it around because otherwise you'll kind of disturb everything underneath. For drugstore highlight, for a natural highlight, when I don't want to be seen by outer space, it's always the Essence Pure Nude highlight. This is the shade 10, Be My Highlight. It's the only shade that they make and it's flawless. It doesn't look like anything in the pan, just looks like a slight sheen, but you can build this up to be really crazy looking. I mean, not crazy looking, but crazy in a good highlighty way. So up here, That's the Be My highlight. It's so pretty. It doesn't have a metallic sheen as much as it just kind of has a glossy sheen, and that's what I really like about it. It's almost undetectable until you turn your head, and then it's just a really light glow. I feel like if you have a pretty even complexion, you could wear this without any makeup on whatsoever, and it would look really great. As far as beauty sponges, I really enjoy these EcoTools sponges. I have this one and the little green one. This is not at its full size because it's dry. This one is still damp from me doing my makeup, so sorry it's dirty. But I really, really enjoy these. I have already repurchased another of this green one, though I will say the only thing that I will tell you about these EcoTools sponges is I think that they're a little more delicate due to their biodegradable nature. You can see on mine, around the edges, there's like chunks missing and stuff, and it looks like I've been working with this sponge for a while and I've really only had it open for a couple of weeks, so it's not looking so hot for its age, but I can tell you that it's from my fingernails, and my fingernails are not long. Like I wash mine every day, and this is what's happening. So definitely keep that in mind, that little things like that do happen. I mean, it's not unusable by any means, but it did happen to this one too. Whew. Oh, I feel like I've got like a sea urchin in my throat. I've been talking so long. Okay, that concludes this favorites video, finally, thank God. If you have any questions or if there's anything I left out, please let me know down below and I will answer those for you. In the meantime, if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It helps me know which videos you guys are into more than others so that I know what to kind of keep creating for you going forward. If you haven't subscribed already, I don't know what you're waiting for, but we would love to have you. So click that subscribe button, and if you don't want to be left out of anything, make sure you ring that bell right next to the subscribe button as well, because that will keep you notified. Otherwise, YouTube just doesn't have your permission to send you notifications saying that I made a new video. So you got to do that by clicking the bell. I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. And until next time.